As two global superpowers go to war, the Jade clans of Janloon face new conflicts from both outside and within. In Jade War, the second volume of the Green Bone Saga, that's the book I'm reviewing on this episode of SFF 180. Hello again, everyone. Thomas here, your host as always. Thanks once again for joining me. It's good to be back with all of you again. If reincarnation really was a thing, boy, I sure would not want to come back as the middle novel of a trilogy. Those books are loaded with expectations, and if they disappoint their readers, it's either that they've made the mistake of simply repeating what everyone loved about book one, or they fail to offer a compelling story of their own, preferring instead to serve as a setup exercise for the grand finale in book three. Happily, Fonda Lee's Jade War avoids both of these common pitfalls. Opening roughly 2 years after the violent clan war of Jade City and unfolding over the course of about 3.5 more years, Jade War follows the first book's logical progression of events and consequences. Lee expands her scope globally. Kal Hilo of the No Peak clan has struck an informal truce with his arch-enemy, Ait Madashi of the Mountain clan, but their unresolved enmity still casts a shadow over the bustling port city of Janloon. The Mountains still have every intention of wiping out No Peak, and they're in a better position both financially and politically to do it. But there are other pressing concerns keeping another clan war, or at least an open clan war, at bay. War has broken out between two large global superpowers. A small region of the nation of Shotar, called Ortico, has launched a rebellion against their government. The neighboring country of Igutan, eager to realize their imperialist ambitions, has thrown its support behind the rebels. The faraway Republic of Hispania, in turn, is supporting the Shotarian government. The entire situation is causing a lot of alarm, to put it mildly, on the island of Kekon and the city of Janloon in particular. And it isn't just the increased presence of the Hispanian navy in nearby waters. The Kekonese are an isolationist and xenophobic people, mainly thanks to the legacy of the Many Nations War, during which they experienced a brutal Shotarian occupation. But it's impossible to resist the coming global economic future, and as the world's sole source of bioenergetic jade, Kekon cannot afford to become any one foreign nation's pawn or vassal state. The No Peak clan has political ties to the Hispanians, and Kal Shay's history of living in Hispania and even providing their government with intelligence in the years before she came back to the clan and became its weatherman is going to haunt her. The Hispanians want more jade for their military while banning its use among their civilian population. Meanwhile, the Mountain Clan is building factories in Igutan to manufacture Shine, the designer drug that allows non-Kekonese, non-Greenbones to use jade without feeling its dangerous side effects. And if all that wasn't enough, a new enemy is getting bolder. Jade smuggling has exploded since all mining was shut down during the events in Jade City. And the smugglers are becoming more brazen, in particular a blustering, odious creep named Zapunyo, who's lording it over the nearby Uwiwan Islands and styling himself the equal of the clan's pillars, like any ambitious small-timer who has seen a chance to take his shot. Their temporary truce has No Peak and the Mountain, at least publicly, going after the smuggling trade together, because it's harming both the Kekonese economy as well as its national security. But the thing is, if you whip a dog hard enough, eventually he's gonna bite. If The Godfather was a chief inspiration for Jade City, then Jade War does feel very much like The Godfather Part 2, in which being a crime lord is really just a leveled-up exercise in being a businessman and politician. It's a world of backroom negotiations, of quid pro quo deal-making that may or may not be honored. It's about having to ask your allies to compromise their ethics to help you achieve your ends, while worrying about which of them might betray you. And it's about the wisdom in not underestimating an enemy simply because he doesn't appear strong. If you're here for the characters, they remain just as compelling, powerful, vulnerable, and heartbreaking as they were before. Hilo and his sister Shay, who have always butted heads, push their interpersonal conflicts about as far as they can go, all the while reluctantly understanding how much they need the balance they provide each other. And an Emery, now living and studying overseas in the Hispanian city of Port Massey, after rejecting his jade and alienating Hilo, might finally be able to find a way to return to his cousin's good graces. But it will require great sacrifice. Nothing any of these characters does comes at anything other than a devastating price, especially the things they must do to protect those they love and preserve the safety of their nation. Power is a trap. You can't extricate yourself, and you probably wouldn't, even if you could. The saying is that all's fair in love and war, but it can't help feeling unfair when love and war are the same. And there you have it. That's all I've got for this episode of SFF 180. You guys remember the most important thing. These are reviews. You will not always agree with me, but if you enjoyed watching, hit that like button, share the video far and wide with all of your SFF reading friends, and above all, please subscribe if you have not done so. That is how the channel grows. You can also support the channel at my TeePublic store and at my Patreon, where recruits into Wink's army occasionally get little perks like early access to some of my videos, but the main thing is that I use the Patreon money to pay Matt Olson, my amazingly gifted and talented channel artist who does all my great thumbnails and things for me. So that extra help is very much appreciated. Thank you all so much. I want to thank the rest of you guys for being the very best viewers in all of BookTube, and until I see all of you next time, stay safe and healthy, and happy reading.